it. You have to take responsibility. You have to see. The thing is that when two people argue or get emotional, someone's taken a position. And in love, there's no position. So as soon as you take a position, you polarize the situation. You've got to take a position and she takes a position, and vice versa. And there's a polarization happens between two forces. And love is not a force, love is a power. So the two forces then start to interact and get strength, each from the other polarity. Right? It's like an electrical force. And they're each playing off each other, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and door slamming and swearing and God knows what, and accusations, all because you've taken a position. Why don't you do what I said to do yesterday and stop? You stop. Don't ask her to stop. You stop. And sit down. No more. I will not engage in this anymore in myself. I don't want the last word. I am finished.
Thank you.
That breaks that terrible exchange of force. Someone's got to do it. But that's only one demonstration of it, isn't it? It's such a cunning, terrible force that we lose ourselves because we take positions. Next question, please. We'll hand it to CQ, please, and then I'll speak to someone I haven't spoken to.
I want to ask you about man's orgasm.
Man's orgasm?
Orgasm, yes.
Yeah, quickly.
Is it a man's frustration or is it necessity? Because I don't really understand the purpose of it.
Well, the purpose of man's orgasm is to repopulate the earth in the first instance, right? That must be obvious to you, mustn't it? Right. But we don't want man to repopulate the earth necessarily through us, do we? Right, okay. So we take all sorts of precautions to try to stop him repopulating the earth. That puts another demand on us because we've stopped the natural thing, and now we've stopped the natural thing, and now there's something imposed on us. If you're going to stop the repopulation of the earth, then what are you going to do for the earth? Nobody ever thought of it that way, did they? And that means, well, I'm going to give up myself for the earth. I'm going to love. Then I give something to the earth that I have denied the earth. Is that too esoteric? Too abstract?
There is a fear in me that when a man has an orgasm, he puts frustration in my body that I cannot take out of me. Can you say
No, you
something
want to
like
forget
that?
all that. You want to forget that. You shouldn't have a man in your body that you are afraid of. Or you shouldn't have fear in your body that is afraid of the man. Woman is naturally afraid of sex, but she's not because she's enjoyed it and taken part in it so often, and now she gets all afraid of sex. Well, that's the contradiction, you know, in woman. And but she's got to give up the fear of man in her, and if she loves a man and is in partnership, then she has to allow the man to make love with her, surely, as it occurs. But does the man have to always have an orgasm? That's the question. That's the question. If he always has an orgasm, then there's something wrong. He's not loving you. If he doesn't have an orgasm at all, then he's probably using his mind to restrict it. But if he has an orgasm now and again, and there's nothing wrong with an orgasm, but in between that he truly loves you, well, what's wrong with that? Orgasm is quite natural. Quite natural, thank you. And not, of course, for the celibates. The celibates are all afraid, terrified of having an orgasm, that they lose all their power. Imagine having all your power and a bit of semen. My God. That's these monks and celibates. Terrible people. Programming the young. Instead of orgasm is quite natural in love. But not too much. and not too little. Who knows? I mean, it's just natural. But it's not necessary every time you make love. Because if it is, there's something wrong. It's not necessary, because love is not about having an orgasm, which in some instances is self-satisfaction. Love is about enjoying the beloved and delighting the beloved with the pure love of enjoying her. That's what it's about. Not about my sexual satisfaction, for God's sake. But it's a very fine line, isn't it? Because there's a lot, the thinker takes a big part in it all. And that's what ruins, that's the spoiler. The thinker is the spoiler. That's the thing that gets self-doubtful afterwards. Oh, should I have said that? Should I have done that? That is the enemy. That is the devil speaking. You must be strong enough to be what you are and to do what you do and cop the consequences, if there are any. Next question, please.
Thank you, Barry.
Good, thank you, Sirka. Would you pass it to the lady next to Michael there, please? What is your name, please?
Irmela. Irmela.
I'm sorry, someone's coughing.
Irmela.
Irmela. Yes, Irmela.
Just a few weeks before I came here to Australia, I met somebody, and he's very loving and caring, and we were very open to each other right from the beginning. And just before I came, he asked me for some of your tapes. So, and while I'm here, he's listening to the tapes, but I just don't know what his reaction is going to be to your teaching. My question is now, well, I'm afraid that I won't have the strength to actually live up to what I want to live. Well, just to live your teaching with him. I don't know whether he's open to that.
Well, if he's not, you leave him. I mean, you got to. I mean, he's not your last chance. I know you'll think he's your last chance. I know you will.
Yeah. And so since I know about your teaching, I haven't been with somebody.
You haven't been with anyone.
No, I just refuse to be with somebody just for the sex.
Yes. Good. That gives you strength.
Yeah, this is my first try to.
Yeah. Okay then.
Live your teaching.
So yes, you will have to be vigilant, and you must not fall in love. And if you make love with him, the chances are you will fall in love with him. And you'll become dependent on him, and he will then, being a man, in most cases, manipulate you and dominate you. And you'll put up with it because you are a woman who think that that's all right. It's all right if he loves you. There's no domination in love. It's just sweet and beautiful, and the interaction is just no positions and no domination on either side. And that is possible. But you are much stronger than you think you are. But you've got to be straight. You mustn't lose your defences because he sweet talks you and because he listens to my tapes and then starts quoting them and how good they are and everything. Let's get into bed. You've got to be very careful. I cannot warn you enough about the Luciferic legacy that is represented in man. That doesn't mean that the man is not good. It's the sex in him that's not good. And what is sex? The sex arises from his thinking about woman's private part any time of the day. And that whips him up into a state of excitement, which is sex, which is lust. To think about sex is lust. Sex itself is not lustful at all. It is beautiful because it's quite natural. But what makes it lustful and destructive is because the man and the woman have thought about it. The man particularly has thought about woman's private parts, and that excites him, and he becomes sexual because he has been lusting. So you heard me talking yesterday about pornography and all the rest of it, and how he will endeavour to get you to watch the pornography with him. Or watch this magazine now, isn't this great? Because he thinks this will work you up. And it will work you up once he gets you sexually excited. It